I mean, that speaks volumes because, like you said, he's only 26. There's so much more to go. Is there a particular fight that you see down the road that can actually match his sort of energy, his sort of delivery in terms of producing numbers for an arena, selling out an arena?
I really can't speak on no other fighters, but I just know that we're going to fight the top fighters out there, the best fighters or whatever, and continue to give the fans what they want to see. None of these guys obviously bring the same thing that Tank does because he's on another level. He's the only pay-per-view fighter that's out there, around his weight class. So obviously he's the A-side going into any situation. So you just have to wait and see. Guys just have to continue to do what they're doing and continue to raise their profiles to make the fans want to see them match up with a guy like Tank Davis. It's easy to say, I'm cutting you off, it's easy to say, oh, I want to fight this guy. But when nobody know who you are, it's kind of hard. You don't really, and I'm just being honest. Somebody took a comment that I made about Taylor the other day, and it was no disrespect to him. All I was just simply saying is that they were having a unification fight, and it was like 1,000 tickets sold. That's not, now, he's a great draw in Scotland and other places that he's fought, but that's overseas. And if you notice, all the greats who have been British fighters, they've made their way over to the United States to raise their profile. But right now, don't nobody even know who he is. But he does bring hardware to the table if you were going down the road to fight somebody like that. But again, if Tank didn't have no belts, he's going to still sell out. You know what I'm saying? But he's going to continue to challenge himself, and that's why we don't call out names. We don't call out names. I just wanted to clear that part out about, there was no disrespect to Taylor. It was just, again, I'm just saying that don't nobody know who the fuck he is in the United States. I'm just being honest. And it's no disrespect towards him, but just being honest.
Yeah.
Those are the words of Leonard Ellerbie as he clears up what he said about Josh Taylor in his own way, of course. And the cleanup was more like another spill on aisle 5, okay? Okay, if you notice, shout out to Michelle Joy Phelps for conducting the interview. And what Leonard Ellerbie said, if you notice, what she asked him was, hey, do you know someone that can match up to Gervonta Tank Davis as far as, opposition or the next step for Gervonta to actually start fighting people we want to see? And what did Leonard Ellerbie say? No, not right now. No, right now, no, not right off the bat. No, we don't do that over here because there's nobody that really matches him for the ticket sales, and he'll be the A-side for anybody, so we don't do call-outs. And let me counterpunch that part. The reason why Leonard Ellerbie doesn't do call-outs because he doesn't want fighters to actually beat Tank Davis. If you're making money off a fighter, why would you want to put that fighter in danger of not making money? How do you do that? You put him in there with someone that could take that O, that could disrupt the winning streak, that could change the markability of you, your pockets, the side pockets, the fighter himself, of course, and everybody involved with Tank Davis, okay? See, this is a level of protection that is disguised by marketability. So what they do is they say, oh, we don't even know who the fuck Josh Taylor is. So if you don't know who Josh Taylor is, that means you don't know a lot of fighters. That means you're not concerned with anybody else outside of the U.S. And let me tell you something about that. He made a comment that, hey, most British fighters, or the British fighters that wanted to be great, had to come to the U.S. Well, here's the problem. Not everybody had to come to the U.S. Not saying they didn't, because Anthony Joshua did. But Anthony Joshua never had to fight in the U.S. to prove that he was a star, a global star at that, okay? Because he made more money than your fighters have made, okay? And you're looking at a guy that, like Leonard Ellerbie, that thinks like Floyd thought. That's in the same Bible, okay? They think the same way. They think, well, hey, this testament, you don't go overseas to fight anyone because you're already so big over here. That breeds arrogance. That also breeds It closes your perimeter because a lot of people won't know Tank unless he went abroad. And there's a flip side to that story. The greats did go abroad, except for Mayweather. Go figure. You know, Mayweather was the only guy that really stayed where he needed to do, and it seems like Leonard Ellerbie is trying to follow that same doctrine with other fighters like Tank Davis. That's why he'll never fight Josh Taylor. He won't fight Josh Taylor because what they'll do, they'll compare the ticket sales. They won't even talk about a proper split or anything because they're not calling out anybody. They're not calling out anybody because they don't want Tank to fight those guys. Like he just said, I can't find anybody in the weight class of Tank that would even register. What he's saying is he will never challenge his fighter. We'll continue giving the fans the best. The fans are not, you're not giving us the best by fighting Mario Barrios. That's not the fucking best. You're handpicking opponents and then you're blaming it on the fans. Well, it's what the fans want. Well, the fans want to see Garcia. They want to see Devin Haney. They want to see Lomachenko, like we've been wanting to see Lomachenko, Tank, for the longest. Okay, and you know how Floyd felt about that. And Leonard Ellerbie is just following the cab. He's not doing anything different than what Floyd is doing. If Floyd speaks, that Leonard speaks, because they all say the same thing. They're all in tune. They're all in sync. They all will preach and utter the same stuff. Okay? And him saying he doesn't know who Josh Taylor is as far as because he was fighting on DAZN. You know, that's what he's really talking about. He's not talking about, well, hey, we don't know who he is. No, he doesn't want to bring light to Josh Taylor because Josh Taylor fights on another platform. That's what that is. You think Floyd Mayweather, Leonard Ellerbie, you think they got DAZN downloaded? No, maybe one of the kids or somebody in the house, but not them personally. Okay, they don't do that because that's not for their platform. They're protecting their platform, which is pay-per-view. Pay-per-view will always be Floyd Mayweather's platform, Leonard Ellerbie's platform, and as long as Tank's with them, that will be the platform that he will be on. He won't be on a streaming service. He will never fight on a thing like DAZN because that is the competitor. Okay, that's like Nike going over to Reebok. So what Leonard Ellerbie is saying is like, hey, we have ticket sales to prove that our fighter is better than any other fighter marketability, marquee-wise versus, you know, actual skill. So what that means is our excuse is we'll never have to fight anybody that could beat our fighter because our fighter always will make more money, therefore we don't have to fight him. Or they'll fight on another platform, which we don't deal with. Plain and simple. But for him saying, hey, I don't know who the fuck Josh Taylor is just because he's on a different platform is crazy. It's crazy. But it just shows you the bondage Tank Davis is really in. Okay? He could be so much greater than he was. See, Tank Davis is 26. He's only 26. Dude, 26, that's time for you to do unifications. Because if you look at fighters like Oscar De La Hoya, Sugar Shane Mosley, those type of fighters. Look at Floyd when he was that age. These guys were doing unifications, having unifications. Okay, we look at Floyd. Floyd is what, 44 years of age? How old was he in 2001? It's 2021. That means he was 24 years old and he was doing unifications at 130 against Diego Chico Corrales. Giving you guys a history lesson of what is expected of Gervonta Tank Davis performance-wise versus what they're doing with Tank now. He's 26, 2 years past what Floyd, had done 2 years prior. Okay? And it lets you know that these guys have no intentions of getting in there with these guys. That's why we don't call out fighters. You don't call out fighters because you don't want to fight those fighters. You don't want the other names in the weight classes that your fighter's in, and you blame it on marketability. But at the same time, you say you want to give the fans what they want to see. No, you don't. Stop. You want to make all the money you can by giving the easiest fights to Tank to make Tank look like he's the best fighter in the fucking world. And in tune, if all he needs to do is sell tickets for all these showcase quote-unquote fights, then to get your pockets lined and his pockets lined so everybody's happy. You don't care about the fans. You don't care about him challenging self. You only want to get paid. That is it. You guys tell me what you think of this particular counterpunch towards Leonard Ellerbie. Of course, please subscribe. And you guys been Counterpunch. Peace.